Yo, 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 what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back to another week of Let's Chop It Up. How my brothers doing? What's going on, my man? Rod, how you doing first, man?
I'm all right, man. Everything's good. You know, woke up to see another day. I'm happy about that. We got some beautiful weather. It's still a little cold, but it's sun is shining every day. But other than that, everything is great. I'm just happy to be with you guys.
What's up? Derek, how about you, brother?
Yo, you know what? The week is all good, man. Second weekend back at the gym, man. Trying to get those gains back, man. And just enjoying life with my family. Just wanted to shout out a couple people from my couple individuals. My man Troy Illy and my man Selwyn Seifu Hines. They got jammed up earlier this week. Banking while black.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. The money goes in, but they don't want to bring it back out. These are brothers that are very well off. Business owners. And in the case of my man Troy and my man Selwyn is basically he's a media mogul type. You know what I mean? He's doing, but you know what? Didn't matter. Actually, my man Selwyn, the police got called on him. It was all in the newspaper, everything like that. So, well, I just want to show a little love to them, and and just hope everything works out for your brothers. They mess with the wrong two brothers, though. Let me tell you.
Wow. I hope they get him. Hope we bring it to light.
Oh, they're gonna get. You don't fuck with a writer, man. Yeah.
That's what's up. Kelvin, how was your week, brother?
Week was pretty good. I've been trying to see when we're gonna get some warm weather consistently. It's been kind of a roller coaster, but I'm very excited. I'm very happy about the future. I'm happy about the show. I want to tell you, gentlemen, you are some of the most knowledgeable, most informative men I've ever met in my life. And I want to tell you, I not only admire you guys, I envy you guys. Because let me tell you something, living life as a sex symbol, no matter how much people think it is, you guys should be thankful every day. I don't have to go through this. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I don't want y'all to have to take on that burden, but I will carry it. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. Just to break up the show a little taste out, but I'm good, man. Everything is cool.
Yeah, Kelvin, it has to be hard being you. It has to be hard.
You know what it is.
Oh man, my week was good. My mother's breast cancer surgery went pretty well, and we started the fight right now. So next thing you know, we lining up with this radiation treatment, and we're gonna see how it goes. But old lady is no joke. So we're gonna celebrate her 80th birthday. No matter where we're gonna be at, we're gonna have a good time. So
that's right.
They not making them like that no more.
Nah, man, she old one, man. She's a good one, strong old one. So we gotta get to what these white men do next. What the white man will say next and do next. So. Senator Ron, bro.
Where do we start?
Yeah, well, on the chopping block. First person on the chopping block tonight. It's Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, equating January 6th, the insurrection, to saying he wasn't scared. He would have been more scared if it was Black Lives Matter and this so-called Antifa bullshit that these people keep bringing up. So, what do you guys' thoughts on that?
So he wasn't scared when they were storming the Capitol.
He wasn't scared, but he said if it was some darker skinned people,
he'd have been more afraid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the
He wasn't afraid when the police officer got killed. He wasn't afraid when they had
eye gouging, beat with a stick.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid when one of the officers had to shoot and kill somebody.
Yep.
So he wasn't afraid at all. That's amazing to me.
Yep.
But we are talking about the state of Wisconsin, correct?
Correct.
Which is the center of the Republican Party, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it doesn't shock me that he would make a statement like that, basically tapping into their base, trying to give them, rile them up and make the Capitol attack not seem as bad. That's what that is.
And I think they've accomplished that. I think it's brilliant as it is. It's as brilliant as it is disrespectful because I mean, actually take it and you notice how they slowly have turned this narrative. They've actually kind of taken a lot of the pressure off of what happened. They have minimized it in such a regard. And I mean, so what it does, it gives a great opportunity to still say that other groups are beneath them, and at the same time, it gives the impression that these people did feel safe, that these people are patriotic. That's the thing that's amazing. He's saying, because I genuinely know that these people love the country. And it's amazing. It just shows how much the Trump fear factor is still in play. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Go ahead, Derek. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's the same dog whistle tactics, that we've always heard, but now it's not even dog whistle. But like you said, it's the same Trump. It's the same Trump tactics,
Look at what Lisa said. Look at what Lisa said.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't afraid because he was. Yeah, he was. No, I'm saying we all know that it was an inside job anyway. So yeah, maybe he was. It's hard to say.
Or he's trying to paint a picture that they weren't after Republicans; they were only after Democrats, maybe.
But they was after the vice president, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the picture he's trying to paint.
I know, but it goes to the narrative and it speaks on to how black people are treated by the police. Like so it goes to the fact that if it's a black person, you got to arrest them, you got to treat them different. And if it's a white person, so it goes to the white supremacy narrative, like they love to pull all the time. And it's just sad.
Black people are more dangerous. That's what you're trying to paint.
Black people or the brown people trying to get over to the country and do this, then the third. It's that same fucking narrative they keep doing all the time. And it's like they stay to their playbook. Their days are numbered. Their days are numbered.
Yeah.
This is going to be a black and brown country for sure. Going to go back to its original state. So things you get so.
And let me say something, I agree with that, and I think that's what the fear is about. And let me say this to my black and brown friends and relatives, and everything. When we control the country, when we are in control, which we will be one of these days, I want my Red Bull machine back. I'm telling you that right now. I don't care. I want it back. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm done with it. That's it.
Every time I think of your Red Bull machine, I think of the barber shop, the first one when they stole the ATM. I always crack that shit cracks me up every time I think about that.
That's who took it. That's definitely who took it.
Yeah. So we have also, and since we're going to stay on the topic of the GOP, Congressman Representative Glenn Goffman. It's Jamie. Can you play? We talked about Black Lives Matter, and I just want Jamie to play the clip first, so then we can all speak on it, so the audience can also see what we about to talk about.
One of the things that hasn't been mentioned here, the increase in the earned income tax credit for single people, has a marriage penalty in it. I bring it up because I know the strength that Black Lives Matter had in this last election. I know it's a group that it doesn't like the old-fashioned family. Disturbed that we have another program here in which we're increasing the marriage penalty.
And I hope my colleague from Wisconsin will not leave at this time, as he's talked about Black Lives Matter. How dare you say that Black Lives Matter, black people do not understand old-fashioned families. Despite some of the issues, some of the things that you have put forward that I've heard out of your mouth in the Oversight Committee, in your own district, we have been able to keep our families alive for over 400 years, and the assault on our families to not have black lives or not even have black families. How dare you say that we are not interested in families in the black community? That is outrageous. That should be stricken down.
Yeah,
Wisconsin again, right? The state of Wisconsin again, right? That's what that is, right? Yeah, the thing is, I wish she had said that. I want to know what you mean by old-fashioned families. Is that the good old boys you're talking about?
I'm trying to figure out, how are we a superpower again? I look at our government, and especially when you look on the floor and you're just like, I don't understand that these are people that are supposed to be governing people's lives. It's unbelievable. And I think that's another thing when it comes to people's perception, making it someone else's reality. I never once heard anybody say that movement did not like families. I never once heard that. I don't even know where that narrative came from. It just, every time you want to fight against injustice and fight for justice, you're just painted with so many different broad strokes. And it's just unbelievable. And you say things, and it's good that she did come up there and have a rebuttal, because it just becomes matter of fact. I mean, he didn't say that as it was the lead. He just said it nonchalant, like it was just, law or something like that. It's just really, really sad, and it's disheartening to hear stuff like that.
Yeah. And like Steve said, the queen just checked it. They keep playing with black women, man. They keep playing. You keep playing, you're gonna see what Rod and Kelvin felt back in the day. They'll get that spanking.
But she did speak to one thing, which is which has just been an ongoing war against the black family, going back to slavery. And and this is a recurrent theme no matter what generation you're talking about, and it goes back to the old report. I can't remember his name anymore, but how to destroy black, the black people, destroy the nuclear family and everything. everything, to separate black men and black women and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't remember the name, but
Yeah,
it escapes me.
but they're always going after Black Lives Matter. It bothers them so bad that this group didn't harm cops, didn't tear up nothing. People march, but we had these fake ass Black Lives Matter people out there was trying to say that, especially the ones in Minnesota. Some were saying they Black Lives Matter and they was burning up shit and stuff like that, and they're doing it in a bad name. But it's a constant attack that black people are not finally, but are waking up and just being aware and trying to get on the same page and staying on code. That's really bothering. So that anytime they get a chance, they're going to try to keep on attacking. No matter how bad the lie is, they will still keep on to continue to do it. And people call them on it. And I don't think white men are scared. White men don't like being challenged.
Yeah.
They hate being challenged. Think about it in the workplace. They hate being challenged.
Mm-hmm. But he did say it, though. He said that Black Lives Matter had a lot of power in this election.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he's attacking them, because he's saying they were a threat to them.
That's
why.
They are.
You know what I'm saying? So he's got to try to bring down the threat, and that's why he's attacking Black Lives Matter.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
And speaking of so-called blacks, my second home is South Carolina. That's my second home. Like Tim Scott.
Oh God.
I'm not going to call him this nocturnal animal, but you'll get understand this nocturnal animal with black eyes, black stuff around his eyes. Tim Scott said, "Woke supremacy is worse than white supremacy." Thoughts?
I mean, like what can you say about that? That's just blatant ignorance. Like, he's just, as you say, he's playing in.
He's a nocturnal animal.
There you go. Thank you, D, for helping me out, because I almost slipped and said it, right?
The nocturnal animal.
He was the nocturnal animal. He's clearly the nocturnal animal, and basically he's feeling the pressure from the rest of his party to join in, to change this narrative, because they're starting to see a big shift, and it's hurting the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So where's Tim Scott going to go from here after this Republican thing is
I don't even think he's running. I'm not sure. I don't think he's running again. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, let's put it into context. What would you say is, in his words, if you could summarize it, what is woke supremacy?
There is no such thing.
There is no such thing. He's creating it. That's what they do. They're putting labels on stuff.
Yeah, woke supremacy can't discriminate against housing, job placement.
Correct.
The medical stuff you've seen right now.
All the things that white supremacy can do.
Policy.
Right. So you're talking about the tangible versus the intangible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So basically, that was like saying awareness is just as bad as oppression. Like, if you're aware that you're being oppressed, this is bad as oppressing somebody. Yeah. And those things just don't make sense. And so as a result, again, you throw those blanket statements out there, and people catch hold of it. Now, before you know it, woke supremacy is a hashtag, and there's a generation of people going after people who are just very, very conscious of being treated unfairly. And so that's the narrative. And I'm saying, if we could put a fraction of the energy used for hatred into solutions, we'd be the greatest country, ever in the history of the world if we could do that. But we're so conscious of trying to keep supremacy in this false narrative of people being oppressed as if they're just whistleblowers or something like that. And it's ultimately a slap in the face, because what you call the civil rights movement, woke supremacy, it's just people that genuinely are saying, I just want to be treated equally. That's what this whole thing is about. And I always say a person that has had preferential treatment usually does not like to share it. If you have leverage, you usually do not want to relinquish it. If you have control of power, you just don't. You don't want to share it. You see what I'm saying? And that's what this is about. That's what it comes down to.
But I actually think it's beyond that, even at this point. It's kind of like, in order to keep your advantage, you actually have to keep your boot on the neck of someone else. It's kind of like woke supremacy, I guess, is someone slaps me upside the head. It's my fault for crying out or saying, listen, don't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Or acknowledging that you're slapping me in the head. You know what I mean? So it's getting ridiculous. So it's at this point we have to kind of. I think we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to decide, how much we care about certain people, going against this or bringing certain things to light. How much do we care if a person, if a person tells us how we look, to stop being so I don't know, polite for a better word, So I don't know. I think we need to get to that point now where we just stop asking for permission and just start taking advantage and start taking control of the situation.
I agree with that. There's ways to do that, and there's things that we need to implement to do that. I mean, we could do that. I think it's almost like when you see, for lack of a better example, an elephant with a trainer. If the elephant ever figures out its own size and its own strength and its own power, that trainer's job is to make sure the elephant never realizes that. You know what I'm saying? So I could take something as small as a toothpick to control you with it, because realistically, you're actually more powerful than you realize. And if you ever come into that power, then it's going to be a problem. And I think that's what we have here. If we ever unite and recognize our own buying power and our own structure and the things that we have, the power that we have, and learn to leverage that, that's going to be a problem. So I think people like to keep us divided and make sure that we never come into that reality.
Yeah, correct, Kelvin. Especially our buying power. We have a lot of buying power.
A lot. Yeah. We're economic agitators, basically. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So the money hits us, and what's the first thing we do? We spend it. You know what I mean? And I think the entire our minds, the way the world is set up, is that our country's set up. It's set up for us to be the economic agitators. We just put the money back up, and everyone else gets rich. So
all they want us to do is be consumers. But
exactly,
if we ever understand that, we could realize if we have the ability to cripple some corporations if we stop giving them our money.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Literally cripple them, bring them down to their knees.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Of course.
We have to understand that first.
Yeah, and with these stimulus checks coming out, I wish I had a Big D's hookah and crab leg spot. I'll make a lot of money. They love hookah and they love crab legs. I wish I had that.
You gotta have.
That's what I spend about.
Yeah,
Hennessy.
Yeah.
All that spend about Hennessy Colada, that Big D.
Oh my God, D, you just set us back right there. We was just making progress.
Hey, listen, man. Tim Scott, he gets under my nerves. I gotta get some human to myself right there. I can't stand that nocturnal animal. Governor Cuomo.
Before you move forward, let me just say this.
Go ahead.
When you have things like that, I've always believed you've got to make people feel it. There has to be repercussion to it. There are certain communities that you dare not say anything about. You tread lightly. I mean, I don't care if you feel it that way. And that's why people only get caught on an open mic or something or whatever, but they will never say these things in public. And so we're a community that people just feel, well, you can get away with anything and there won't be repercussion. And so certain communities, they don't have that, and they work to get that. And we've got to get to that point.
Well, we're quicker to ask permission than to ask for forgiveness. So that's the problem. That's the difference.
Yeah, we have to realize what's hot. We control what's hot. We control what sells, and we control what's cool. You know what I'm saying? So until we learn that, we won't understand how much power we actually have.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And that's why you all got to go now. No. Governor Cuomo here in New York State, now everybody's coming up to Cuomo now. I mean, saying the cancel culture, whatever. Now you got Chuck Schumer jumping out there. You had AOC jumping out there.
Yeah. They're talking about impeaching him now too.
Yeah, I was on the thing, the Zoom thing with Charles Barron. That's who he mentioned that today on the Zoom thing today about impeaching him. So what are you guys' thoughts?
Well, this is a little bit of karma because I don't know if you guys remember. I can't remember the guy's last name. Remember the former Attorney General of New York?
Oh, Spitzer.
No, it wasn't Spitzer. I think his name was Eric something. Eric.
Oh man,
Eric something.
All right, go ahead.
Anyhow,
go ahead.
He was the Attorney General before Letitia James, right? And he had a sex scandal too. And do y'all remember what Cuomo said about him? That he should resign and step down as a result of allegation. No, Weiner was the guy.
Weiner was showing his wiener.
Yeah, he was
showing his wiener.
He was showing his wiener on the computer. You know?
Yeah, Weiner was in Congress, I believe.
Oh, yes, right.
Eric Seiderman.
There we go, Eric Seiderman. I knew I was close. Yeah, when he had his little sex scandal and allegations of a sexual harassment, Cuomo said that he should step down. So now it's coming back around.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing with the women, I think no woman should get harassed. He dropped the ball with me with the 2 different datas on the people that had COVID inside the nursing homes.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is unforgivable on that part. Like, you know, him, it's he say, she say. I don't know who did it. I mean, I feel for these ladies, but it's just now that disturbed me with that. Seriously.
Well, but I think that speaks to the credibility. That's the thing. So in other words, if you were going to give him the benefit of the doubt, then because he just did that, then you feel like, you can't trust him. So that's one thing. Now, obviously, he has not had a day in court. He's been tried, obviously, in the court of public opinion so far. But I think the major thing is this: because of who his father was, because of who he is, his legacy is on the line here. And if he has to resign, or if he steps down, he's put out, all of the years that he's worked to get to this point are just going to go down the drain like that. And I mean, and very well they should, for him to do what he's been accused of doing, if this is all true. So, but it's again, there's no winners here. And it's amazing because his father's name was tremendous. A lot of people really believed in Mario Cuomo, but for him to get to this position, and especially with our gubernatorial situation in New York, it looks like we've been having a really, really rough go at it. I mean, going back, I didn't like Pataki at all, but I think
don't bring him back. Don't bring him up.
Patterson, Spitzer. We just had it. I think New York State and New York City are starved and bereft of great leadership. But we need a change. We need somebody that can come in and turn the page and pull us out of this tailspin, because we're really in it now.
If Patterson just couldn't see stuff coming, he just couldn't see it coming.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Yo,
wrong.
Everybody, I don't think everybody caught that.
Oh yeah,
No.
But Patterson was blind. I mean, I met him before. I met the brother before. He's a good dude. I met him before.
I don't know why.
He was legally blind, but he wasn't fully blind, right?
Right.
Yeah. He ain't that blind. His wife was fine. So I don't know if he did that the Ray Charles shit like that, feeling the wrist and shit. But
girl, she said
the girl says he deserves due process.
Yes, he does.
That's wrong. Yeah, wrong.
Now, I'm gonna tell you this, right? You got to realize something like this. This is not. Excuse me for it not being shocking to me that he did something like, or accused of doing something like this. Politicians and the departments, corporations, they fudge numbers all the time. They're always in competition with numbers from the year before.
Yep.
So to make everything look better and make it look like they're doing a good job, they're going to play with numbers. The police department does it all the time.
But this is worse, Rodney.
It's worse with what he did it with. You know what I'm saying?
Well, not just that, but it's the timing of it when you got a book coming out to talk about your leadership.
Right.
That's right.
So all of that.
He did the book because he was hot. It was the perfect time for him to drop the book.
But you make it look right. You make yourself look hotter when you're like,
his approval ratings were at the all-time high at that time. It was a perfect time to make
America's
the money governor. Book. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people from Tennessee, from all over, were like, "Oh, we want your governor." I have
correct.
Out of state saying, "Oh, you got the greatest governor," because you got to remember, he really grew to prominence in a vacuum, because there was a vacuum of leadership going on, because we were not feeling Trump. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Trump wasn't doing anything. Let's not forget, he was doing anything regarding COVID. So he just kind of slipped right into that lane and took off, and it was great for him. It was great for everybody. It's like, oh yeah, we finally have an adult at the table, and now, unfortunately, here we go.
It was a typical politician move, though, because the thing is, like, you remember Giuliani, how he capitalized off 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Politicians see opportunity like that. They see it. They see a tragedy, and they say, "Hey, if I handle this thing well, or I appear that I'm handling it well, it's going to be beneficial for me long term." And that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? He saw basically a disaster happening, and basically he wanted to show that he was a great leader. He came out with the book at his all-time high approval rating. And to me, like I said, it was politics 101. He capitalized off it. You know?
No, yeah, it was absolutely it was the proper time to come out.
Yeah,
With,
and like I said, we talked about the 9/11 thing with Giuliani. You know, there's like an emergency plan where pretty much all you got to do is say implement it, just goes right into action.
Right.
And
But
a black man wrote it. And a black man.
And he took all the credit for saving New York, where basically a 5-year-old could have been in office and did the same thing.
Yeah. I remember when he was when he gave way to Bloomberg, he was trying to stick around for a little while. You know, is that so? Maybe I'll hang around for a little while because Bloomberg was like, "Nah, you can keep pushing, man. We just I'm got it from here." You know.
Yeah. Get your ass out of here.
Right. Well, speaking of other nocturnal animals, we got a female nocturnal animal to talk about right now. She wants to be re-invited back to the cookout. Stacey Dash.
No. She's that cousin that cousin that nobody tells about the cookout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She finds out on Facebook.
Don't let Stacey know about the cookout.
Nobody. Or she comes. Okay. Oh Lord, here comes Stacey.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. You know.
Everybody, lay it out there. What is
so Stacey Dash recently came on and saying that she's been used and people have painted her as the angry black girl, and Fox News used her. She said Fox used her badly and made her look like the angry black person. And now we're seeing all the stuff with the stuff Trump was doing from January 6th. She's changed her opinion on things, and she said she no longer want to talk about politics. And she feels like she's blackballed on getting any television shows or any movie shows. So now she wants to be reinvited to the cookout. I guess the checks are getting smaller.
Yeah,
that's exactly what the problem is.
She got fired by Fox.
Yeah. So now she need a check. I mean, I don't think Tyler Perry has been affected. Yeah, Tyler Perry hasn't called her. I don't think anybody's calling her right now. So I think her phone is not ringing. So
and Tyler calls everybody. He's the king of he's the king of second chances.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's bad. He's that cool.
Kelvin, didn't Tyler Perry call you to be in one of his movies? He said, "I need a sex symbol to be in the next movie." So he called you. Right?
I didn't have a canary yellow blazer, wall with notwithstanding. I didn't have any secret jackets or anything. I think you know what it is. I think when it comes to Stacey Dash, and it's sad because one of the problems that we've had historically is people trying to disassociate themselves with the people they come from. And they allow these people to do the same thing to build them up somewhere else, use them. And then there's nowhere to turn but coming back to the community. And we've seen that a lot of times. Stacey Dash said a lot of egregious things. Stacey Dash became a parody of herself. And I mean, it was just really bad. I mean, I remember the thing Chris Rock brought her out at the Academy Awards. And she made some off-color joke that they planned regarding Black History Month and things like that. I've always believed in this. If you don't agree with someone or you disagree with someone, there's still a way to do it. And I mean, she really thumbed her nose at the Black community. And I think people like herself and the young lady that was hired by Trump,
Omarosa,
I think that the wounds were cut so deep. What you would have to do, and again, I can't speak for the Black community. I obviously speak for myself in saying that, you just don't have a regard for a person. Now, I do believe in forgiveness and I do believe in second chances. It's just the timing, again, seems really bad when you have no option. So what you're looking at is Hollywood is done with you. So now you think that because realistically, people would have put her in the same place we put Nia Long and Sanaa Lathan and some of the Black actresses that we will rally behind and we will support their projects, and they're not going to do that for her. And so when the other group, when they trade you or when they cut you, and now you have no place to go, you always want to come back home. And I think she'd have to do a lot of work to come back. First thing she needs to do is come on, let's chop it up. She needs to get on the show. She needs to let the people that view this show talk to us, talk to people directly, not through some press clippings, but come on here and, so you can show some attrition and come back to this community for us to begin the conversation.
I would love to have that conversation.
Yeah, brother Dwayne Isaac said she's been lost.
That's my little brother.
So, word. All right.
Shout out to my little brother Dwayne Isaac.
Yeah, so he so for her, she's been lost for a while. And there's some of the trauma she talked about in her childhood and people not liking her. It might have played into this. I don't know, but Stacey Dash, she's been selling out for too long, man. Too long.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna take the words of the great Kelvin.
True.
Yeah, Kelvin said this a while back. I don't know if y'all remember this. He said the shelf life in selling out is very short. It's going to come to an end. The great words of Kelvin has said that. So shout out to my man Kelvin.
Now, let me say this. Stacey Dash, one thing about our community to a fault is the most forgiving community ever.
Yeah,
because we've had to do that. We've forgiven a country that is, pretty much just run us over and done all imaginable things to us. So I think what our issue a lot of times is the sincerity. That's the thing. You can't say I want to come back to the community because I want job opportunities, or I want to come back to the community because I want to be able to get my career started again. You have to genuinely just, show the people that, listen, you know what, I've actually changed and I was wrong and I recognize I was wrong. And that's the thing, and I think you need to apologize to people. You said a lot of hurtful things. And we got a couple more that's going to wind up coming back too, because as soon as they're done with you, Al Sharpton made a statement years ago, and he did it regarding OJ. He said a lot of these people in our community that do that, it's like when you have a baby, and when the baby messes up that diaper, they hand it right back to the parents. And baby is so cute then, but as soon as you mess up that diaper, they hand you right back. Well, now that Stacey Dash and a couple more about to mess up that diaper, they're gonna hand you right back. The question is, are we gonna take you? And that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. She might use a light skin privilege to come back. That's a whole nother topic.
The light skin delegation. Can I say?
Well, I'm gonna call her head of the light skin union, and I'm gonna tell them not to let her back in.
Can she at least get a hearing? Can she get a hearing, Rodney?
Huh?
Can she at least
we're gonna. I don't think we're even gonna give a hearing. The bottom line is that she's been banned. Yeah, she's done. She's done.
She gets no plate.
The thing is, too, sometimes you got to do your time. You know what I'm saying? You got to get shelved. We're gonna shelf her. Let's shelf her, and then we'll see if she changes her ways. Yeah, and then we give her a probation hearing, and then we're gonna see if we're gonna let her back at the cookout again. And if she comes back to the cookout, she has to bring all the liquor.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me say this.
And ice.
She's got to prove it to black women, because black dudes are gonna let Stacey Dash come back. I'm gonna just tell you that right now.
That's facts. That's facts.
Now the dudes are gonna run through it, Kelvin. They're gonna run through her.
Yeah.
The dudes will find it in their heart, but that's who she's got.
That's true. She got to prove it to the sisters. So, in the news recently,
no backseat. That's right.
No backseat. Exactly.
It's a wrap for. Yep.
So. This week, George Floyd, they reinstated reinstatement of murder charge. I think they added on murder 3. Am I correct? The murder 3 charge to the George Floyd case.
It was 3rd degree, I believe.
Yeah, 3rd degree. So
it was 3rd degree. It was 3rd degree. Yeah.
So they're trying to make sure that if they clean them out to the 3rd degree, it would be lesser years and stuff like that. I want people to understand how that would go fade out. So
it's the lesser charge.
Yeah.
He's already been charged with murder 2nd degree. And 2nd degree manslaughter, and then they wanted to add the lesser charge. I guess if he beat those 2, they can get him on a lesser charge. So that's why the prosecution wanted that lesser charge there, so it'd make it harder for him to beat all 3.
Yeah.
How did this come about? Anybody know?
I don't know.
The judge the prosecutor wanted it back in, and I think the judge granted it. That's what I think happened. Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember that was a big issue, and people were really upset when it came down initially. Obviously, when you watch something that egregious in real time and you watch it on video, people are like, what do we have to do? What do we have to do to get justice? It amazes me every time you see something that's black and white. People are like, well, we're going to launch an investigation. I just saw it. Judge Judy could solve this in 20 minutes. I don't see why I got to take, years to get these things done. But I think it's definitely warranted. And I believe I read there's a $27 million settlement coming to that family.
I think they got it. Yeah, I think they got it. Yeah. Okay. I want to explain something to you about how they trick everybody now into not even believing what you see. I remember when I first saw the Eric Gardner video, right, and saw him get choked, right, and I remember I was still on a job at that time, and I remember being behind the desk with about 3 or 4 other sergeants, and we watched the video on another sergeant's phone. There wasn't one sergeant that was there that said that didn't look bad. He said, yo, that looks really bad. That's a chokehold, this, that, and the other thing. As 2 weeks passed, PBA puts out the narrative. Fox News puts out their narrative. Those same sergeants, I think like maybe 3 of them were white. Yeah, I'm sure 3 of them were white. They came back with different opinions 2-3 weeks later. So it goes to show you how the narrative can influence people about what they even saw with their own eyes. Yes. So, I mean, I had back and forth with certain guys. I said, what are you talking about? We were here a couple of weeks ago watching behind the desk, and you were saying that it was a chokehold. It was criminal. He killed the guy, whatever. It doesn't look good at all. But now you say, oh, well, there's a lot of things I wasn't thinking about because you have been influenced. Mm-hmm. You know, the narrative has gotten your head. You've been poisoned. And an old timer told me a long time ago, he said, there's more sheeps in this world than wolves. Mm-hmm. So people will follow what the narrative is. Yes. So they will be convinced to not believe what they actually saw.
Especially when that narrative is in their best interest to believe it. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably, and I don't know, I've never been a police officer, but I just kind of, you know, I like to watch people. I'm a people watcher. And I'm not denying of it. It's a culture. It's a culture, Derek, and they're protecting the culture. And that's basically what they were doing. So you're right. It is in their best interest to go along with that narrative. You know when PBA and Fox gave them that out, they gave them that lane. I think they just probably took it and just and went with it. It's like, okay, I can adjust my mind. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Because some people believe
I think we want to.
Media. No, go ahead, Kelvin. I'm sorry.
And we were raised, many of us, to believe that cops are right. Like that's what we thought. That we thought cops were supposed to be on the side of the people. So therefore, you assume that the cops used to get the benefit of the doubt, you know. And so once people started seeing, unarmed people, murdered and things like that. Because think about it, they don't even use the term murdered when it comes to officers. A lot of times, if there's someone that they killed, like if it's done behind that badge, then it must be a good shoot, or must be, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. And I think, and Rodney, you know this from the 90s, you had those groups that were out there running after drug dealers and stuff like that. They was just as dirty in the streets sometimes because you had to sometimes do that. I know some of them precincts in Brooklyn, the 75th precinct and the 77th precinct, and those was no joke. And so I used to see these guys, they were young white guys, and they jumping out with hats on and this, that, and the third. And you got so caught up into it. Some of them was just as street as the guys they was running after. Mm-hmm. And I think the line gets blurred. And I think I know a young man that was a cop, and I remember he got hurt and he had to sit out, and he used to listen to the radio like, oh man, I need to be back out there. I wish I was out there. And I realized this is more than just wanting to protect and serve. This is an adrenaline rush. You just thought it's a high.
Yeah. They're called cowboys, Calvin. We call them cowboys. Mm-hmm. The guy that's really like Buffy, wants to be out there running around, jumping, always looking for some action. You know what I'm saying? Right. But as far as like the corruption was concerned, the corruption was from the 60s all the way to the 80s, where cops there's a lot of drugs and stuff out there. So I mean, you look at that documentary they did on the 7.5. That'll tell it all right there.
Oh yeah. Anybody get the chance to get the 7.5? I think it's on Netflix. I'm not sure.
Is it still on Netflix?
I'm not sure.
You know what? Sure. You're right. It is on Netflix. Yeah,
it's on Netflix, right? Yeah. Anybody get a chance? Watch the 7.5.
Yeah.
So, in the most recent news, and this has been the hottest topic all week in every chat room, clubhouse thing you can think of. It was Harry and Meghan, and my thoughts are, what do people think was new? The man wore a swastika on his arm for Halloween or some costume party. And my thing is with her, for me, I'm just giving my opinion out real quick before I let you guys talk. My thing with her is I think she realized her light skin privilege ended at some point. And she didn't realize, like, okay, they see me, I don't care how dark you are, how light you are, you still nothing but a nigga to them. I'm going to keep it a buck with it. I don't usually say the N-word on live stuff, but that's what it, and they thought as, this is a nigga. And then she realized, like, oh, shoot, my privilege stopped. And then they kicked in, like, oh, now it's the race thing. So that's my 2 cents. But you guys, what's your thoughts?
I'm waiting for my light skin privilege to kick in. Can I get a card? Does it come with a card or something? I'm trying to figure out where that happens, man.
It's supposed to say it on your driver's license, Derek.
I don't know. It's not on my license, bro. Who would I take it up to? I'm gonna take it with the
Well, see, Derek, it's very, very simple. Do you remember when Cat Williams said a Chrysler 300 looks like a Bentley? until a Bentley pulls up.
Right.
A light-skinned black person look like they got privilege until a white person pull up, and that's the reality, and that's the process of elimination. My father used to tell me, he said, if you ever forget you black, you be the only one. And it's true. You have to just realize, and so that's why I'm not outraged by it. I'm not shocked by it. I'll say this: and this may be foul, but part of you falling in love with this man is loving that or wanting that status. I believe that's just my opinion.
And power and control.
There you go. So to act as if you don't know what comes with that. Because I know what comes with that. I remember this big thing. Oh, you know, they got somebody black in the royal family and things like that. First of all, I'm not even big on the whole royal family thing.
Yeah.
But you know, all that stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? All of that. I mean, you have to know. So don't be shocked. You know what I mean? And I've seen that a lot of times. And what we do is we go into a situation and we want the benefits of it. But you got to recognize the downside, and there is a downside of it. And let me tell you something, as much as people try to downplay it, the interracial thing is always going to be in play. It is always an issue. It is always an issue because you're dealing with somebody that has absolute privilege, and then they're dealing with a minority who doesn't, no matter what their status is. And that is going to ruffle some feathers. And there's certain groups that are never going to accept you. Therefore, if being part of those groups gives you your affirmation, then you're in trouble. And that's what I think that's the year.
And then we talking about the clan. We knew these people stole so much from Africa. What would make you not think, oh, I might be married to a racist ass family? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when Princess died, left with the Muslim brother and died with the Muslim brother. Like, the shit they would do to just disrespect this woman is crazy. And I think it came down from the father. I think the father's a piece of shit. People was watching The Crown and stuff like that. I think the father, like, a lot of it came down from the father, like a lot of stuff that was said.
Yeah.
And then black women, stop calling this dude light-skinned Harry. Stop it. He wore a swastika on his thing. He told you who he was before. Stop it.
This is the old school race. Listen, this is the oldest, whitest family on the planet. How do we not know that they harbor racist attitude?
Tendencies.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? How do we not know? Like, it's a whole royal family, like a whole medieval white folk. Like, this is beyond slavery in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a culture that goes back like beyond just centuries. It's just something deep. How do we not? And then Oprah gets on. I think she had an interview with Megan, and she's acting surprised, like, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't know, like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, this is literally, this has got to be, if there was ever any racism in the world, it's got to be in this family. You know what I mean?
I mean, think about it. When in your life were you shocked about racism? I mean, think about, literally, from the time I was a child, being called the N-word, walking to the park and stuff like that in cars that was moving by, I was never shocked. And to me, that was because my parents prepared me for it. We always knew what it was. We've always known. So when you see Oprah didn't get let into that store one time, they went
the Louis store.
Right. I've seen Michael Jackson in handcuffs, and that's a person that even they used to love. So at the end of the day, there's nothing that is shocking when it comes to this, no matter what. And that's the thing. And I have to be honest, because of that, I have to be real with you. I don't really have the outrage or the empathy for it. I just don't. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I believe, for the record, also, I really don't believe Prince Charles is his father. I don't believe that. Man. I believe that story about when they talk about Diana. Yeah, allegedly, right. You know, and that's why I'm saying believe. I'm just saying, because what I'm saying is the guy that they accused Princess Di having an affair with really looks eerily like this, like Harry. I'm just being honest with you.
Wow.
So do you think that with that theory, do you think that's why they didn't also want to give them protection? They had seeking to go to our brother Tyler Perry.
I believe if I know it, they know it. I really believe that. If you heard the Queen's statement, and she was like, you know, we're not going to dismiss this. You know, we've heard what they said. It is warranted. And Harry and Meghan will always have a place in this family. I mean, it's just so scripted. It's so, I just believe that he may not really be genuinely part of that bloodline, and I think they know it.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, we letting you slide without even being a real relative. They gonna bring somebody black in here. That's how we know you're not even
you
with us.
violating. They're gonna say you violating.
And no other thing black people shouldn't be shocked at when they said that the queen, somebody in the royal family, somebody in the royal family wanted to see will the baby come out dark, how the baby look. I said, listen, black people, I'm gonna check black people on this one. We do the same shit.
Yeah, you know we do.
Yeah.
Check the ears and all that.
All that shit.
Yeah, the ears. If the ears are dark, they're gonna go. That baby's gonna be dark.
Shit. So so I wasn't shocked. I was like, yo, we do it to our own people. So it was no big blow to me, but on that side, but it's just people. A lot of people were shocked, like, oh, they think it's gonna have a little Wesley Snipes gonna come out and shit, like, oh, it's gonna look like he's gonna look like a Michael Blackston or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's so it's like bugged out.
Yeah, they not trying to tap that so-called royal bloodline. They're not trying to darken it. So, like you said, I agree with everybody. It wasn't shocking to me at all.
Yeah. So, and another thing, her old homeboy, Piers Morgan, storming off the set after when our brothers from London started checking him on who he was and shit. And he like any white man doesn't like getting confronted on his BS. So he stormed off.
He showed his female tendencies when he did that.
Yeah, right.
Now, let me ask you a question. Did he go on a date with Melvin Morgan?
Yeah, she left him somewhere. She
left him for actually Prince Harry at a party. Yeah, that's what it comes from, because he went out with her, and then she bounced at the party and went with the prince. And then she never returned his phone calls.
She ghosted him. She ghosted him.
Yeah.
He was trying to get up in that. I see what happened. Now I understand it.
Yeah, so he's mad. Like, how dare she not mess with me?
Okay, but I think we have to look at the bigger question. Who is Piers Morgan? Like, I don't even know why they gave him Larry King spot on CNN. In other words, I didn't know if he was a comic or whatever. The next minute he's a judge, then he's a pundit, or he's judge on reality shows. He's a pundit. I never even understood they brought him over here because he was supposed to be so witty, and I don't even get it. I don't see the talent. I don't see why he's even in that position. You know what I mean? And so I think it's overplayed now. It had enough. And first of all, when you storm off of a set, to me, you can't defend your position. To me, that's one thing I've always believed.
Right.
If you are a communicator, talk it out.
Right.
In relationships or anything else, I am not a fan of the storm out thing.
Listen, how baby shit soft do you have to be to let somebody kick you out your own house? This is your show. This is your show. That's like somebody kicking you out your own house, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just your house. Somebody can't come into my house, talk a whole bunch, and then be like, and then I'm just gonna leave and then go down the street and start talking a whole bunch of shit to my neighbor about what this other did to me, man. Come on, cut it out.
If your wife says it, we be out of there. Your wife will throw you out.
Yeah, no, that's different. That's different.
The dude ain't gonna do it though. Dude ain't
dude ain't coming up in there.
Visit my house and just talk. You know what I mean? And just start talking, and I'm gonna get out and leave.
Yeah, and I also have a problem with a dude that's just going in on a woman consistently. It's just too, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just going in, like it's just too much. And like you said, and I didn't know that, but that's obviously this is personal. You know what I mean? It's something personal, but I don't understand. There's certain people that get opportunity after opportunity, and it just amazes me because I don't see it. I don't, like, you can get up. I think, you know who I blame? I blame Simon Cowell. That's who I blame. He has just allowed, he has birthed a generation of negative people that get paid for just being negative.
But as white men can always fail up, right? They always can fail up. And then let me tell you, one of my boys, his wife is from London, right? And it's something about people thinking people from London is always so much more intelligent, so they always wind up landing on some good shit. Especially Americans, we always think about all of the British actors that we fall in love with. They just love the way they talk. They always seem like they're so fucking sophisticated. So they can always fail up. We enamored with them. Like Simon Cowell, he's a bitch ass motherfucker. But the Americans love him. Same thing with this dude. They just love those kind of guys, man. They eat it up.
You know, Piers Morgan was on The Apprentice with Trump too.
Right.
Yeah.
He was on trial. Yeah, so that's why he was also supporting Trump when Trump was in the office too.
Yeah, so
right.
you know, they love. Yeah, like Nikki
It's
said,
the accent.
they love that. They love that. They love
the
the
accent is smart. I don't know what that is, man.
And speaking of accents, we got Sharon Osbourne, and I don't think we have a clip, but Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood going at it, and Cheryl Osbourne started using what always can kill any person of color is white women tears, and trying to tell Cheryl Underwood she shouldn't even cry. Like, let me cry because I'm a white woman, because she's the whole text on the British on the whole thing with the comments on this old marriage. Yeah, I'm just like, stop. She's a Karen. She's starting to become a Karen, and like, you know, I'm just tired of like
growing into her Karenhood. Yeah,
I always tell people a white woman's tears is a black person's coffin nails.
Yeah,
they start crying, it's over. Right? You know, you see the white women call police. Yeah, and it's over. It's over.
What they're doing is they're weaponizing their whiteness.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. Yes. They're weaponizing it.
And saying that she's not racist, like, oh, you could make
some.
What
was the friction over between it? First of all, I can't watch any of those shows. I can't watch The View. I can't watch The Real. I can't watch. It's just the same redundant thing. It's like watching a traffic accident. It's just every week where you just put a group of people on who never get along. Is just paid not to get along. So what is the issue now? Because The View done had 40 different hosts with it. But what is the issue between those two? What happened?
Say it again, Kelvin.
What was the issue? Why was she crying? What do you know what the issue was about?
People send up like saying she's a racist, all this other stuff, and you know, it's just
Lisa.
Yeah, so it's like that's what she was basically saying, like, you know, she was agreeing with the royal family because, you know, people speaking out against the royal family, she was taking to the royal, I guess, kind of to the royal family side of things and stuff like that. So
first of all, let me say Lisa G is hilarious.
Yeah, she is.
She's going in tonight. She's feeling it tonight. She's going in tonight.
Sexy in a British accent. Spanish, Italian, French, Australian.
I guess the overall thing is me. So basically, it really doesn't matter what it was about. It was just the theatrics behind it, you know. And Cheryl Underwood, first of all, is a comic. In comics, a lot of times have thick skin, and you're not going to like embarrass them. You're not going to really shake them down. Like, so you don't want to get into it with a comic because they'll keep going, you know. And so for her to, you know, and I have to be honest with you, Ozzy Osbourne was so washed out to me. I'm amazed that his wife is even, you know, being given this opportunity, because at one time they was hot. The kids, they were just getting endorsements and things like that. But so what happens is, this is the way I look at it. You are so used to winning that you just can't take a loss. It just hits you harder. That's what the O.J. Simpson trial was about to me. The verdict, it was like a system we set up. All of a sudden, was turned on us. We watched 400 million bad verdicts go the wrong way, and we dealt with it. One time it doesn't go to people's way. It's just an issue, and I think that's probably what this was. You know, in other words, just so used to. I don't care. I don't deify the royal family because I don't believe in the royal family. I don't believe that one bloodline is better than the other. I mean, I believe people are people, and I think you should be respected by virtue of how you treat other people, and that is it. Not because you're privileged, not because your family has money, not because your family took money or stole money or runs corporations. It just should be by virtue of who you are. And so to me, when the royal family go in that bathroom, they tear it down just like everybody else, and that's it. So that's how I feel about it.
Let me switch topics. Let's do something different, like that somewhat with our culture. So this over the 2020, we know the whole thing with Versus came up, and Swiss Beats and Timberland, they created this thing that we can see all of our old artists from back in the day do this challenge. So it's like, you know, they did these one-offs against each other in these songs and stuff like that. But they just sold Versus to another company. And some people saying that, oh, they supposed to build this for the culture. As black people always selling stuff, why we always selling our stuff? Like, you know, what are your thoughts? To me, I think it was great business, but I understand what people are saying about the culture. So what do you guys thought?
It's nice to have something for the culture. It's nice, but you got to understand, like, you know, when it wasn't created for the culture. You know what I mean? Not really. It kind of, you know, it was a nice thing to happen, but at this point, like you said, it was a business decision. You can't get angry at anybody for making a business decision at this point, you know. And hopefully, some of the spirit of it will remain, you know. But you know, at this point, you just kind of kind of have to give it up. It was kind of like when Rob Johnson sold BET. You know what I mean? So it's the same.
Well, this is the thing. First of all, I want to ask this question. Maybe you men can help me with this. What is the culture? That's what I want to know. So somebody tell me what the culture is.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Because I hear that a lot. The culture. So somebody tell me what the culture is.
The culture could be a whole bunch of different things, Kelvin. You know, it could be like from music. It could be like when Rod and I, all of us pick up on certain jokes. Those are the culture. Like certain people, like white people understand the culture. Certain things, but music-wise, the culture. But I get what you're saying on that part. My thing with the whole thing with them, for me, is that they're entertainers. Malcolm X told us, why do we look at entertainers as our leaders? They're entertainers. They're in there for business. That's what they come there for. They come to sell records. They always come to sell you a product. And so they got the product. They sold you the product. Don't be mad that they sold the product.
Right.
And then, like you said, it's not the culture.
Right.
It's music at the end of the day.
Listen,
Okay,
the idea of a
no.
culture is for us, by us. You know what I mean? You just think of it that way. But that's a slogan, and we support it and everything. But at some point, it's owned by an individual or a company or whatever, and their sole purpose is to monetize it and make as much money as possible. You know what I mean?
Correct.
That's it. You can't get away from it.
I just slightly disagree with what D just said. He said it's music at the end of the day. I'm going to say it's business at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So it's money at the end of the day. I do want to say this, right? Them creating that during that time to me was ingenious, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was trapped in the house. I mean, it was huge. Everybody was watching it. And if you brought back some artists that you hadn't seen in a long time, you know, they gave them some love. They gave them a platform. They built some followers for them. I thought it was ingenious and I thought it was great, you know. But from what I understand, they sold it and they made a ton of money from it, which, like I say, I don't know how much they sold it for. Just say they sold it for $100 million. They now are $100 million more liquid than they were before.
Yeah, right.
You know, so now that branches out for you to do other and bigger things. It's like selling one property and you take that money now and go buy a two or a bigger property. That's just the name of the game of business.
This is where I'm at, and this is my issue with it. And this is, to me, the problem with it. First of all, the reason I don't like the expression "the culture," because every time I hear about the culture, it's something we just don't own. It's something that we create. It's something we cultivate, and we never own it. Hip hop is the largest selling form of music in the world, and we just don't own it. But we are 95% of it. That's the issue. So what I'm saying is, at a certain point, Black people do not own and operate one industry in the United States of America. Not one.
Right.
Not one. So we can't afford to be innovative and just give something away. We can't afford it. In other words, it's not an issue of how many Black millionaires you have. We have made too many billionaires for other people. At some point, whether it is Beats that somebody just referenced, whether it is Bob Johnson, BET, at a certain point, you need to actually keep something. Everybody talks about this generational wealth thing. Well, what I'm saying is, if you want that as a community, we've got to actually own something. So who owns the NBA? More Jewish owners than anybody else. Who owns the NFL? More Jewish owners than anybody else. So what I'm saying is, if you have something, we just keep selling it. And the thing, the people that sell it usually already are affluent. So then when do you do it? So what happens if he keeps Beats? Then one day you just have that forever, control it, and then have an industry or whatever, but we can't do it. So the question I want to ask you guys before is this: if you have something, you come up with something, and you are a millionaire from it, do you sell it to become a billionaire, or do you just keep it? And let me tell you something. Everybody has they have to make their own decision. It's their money. It's not mine. If I was put in that position, you have to ask me, well, what would you do? Because what I realize is this: if you remember, and I always thought about this line in Harlem Nights when they had the club, and remember Richard Pryor, who was Sugar, he said, listen, when the big boys want to come and play in your ballpark, you move away. Somewhere along the line, you've got to keep something. You've got to have. You see what I'm saying? And that's the way I look at it. If not, then when are we gonna ever have a foothold? When are we ever gonna build anything? So hip hop is owned by Jewish people. How many Jewish rappers y'all know? How many great Jewish rappers we know?
Well, you do. I don't know if y'all know. You know that they're still getting a check from it, because they're still, like, I think they're down now with the management department, because I kind of think it's like a deal where, I don't know if you guys follow like the UFC. I don't follow it no more like I used to, But Dana White and them sold the UFC, but Dana White is still working for the UFC, controlling it. You know what I'm saying? It seems like it's kind of one of those deals. So they're still involved with versus. You know what I mean?
Right, but
wait, let me just finish this thought. Let me just finish this thought. Sometimes you need a machine to push it to make it go bigger. You know what I mean? They may not have the avenues or the resources to make it bigger. Right. So they have to now let somebody in. It's like you taking on an investor. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to say, well, we're going to buy into it 40%, 30% or whatever. Because it's just like Shark Tank. Guys go on Shark Tank and try to make their businesses bigger, even though they were already making money. Right. That's business. That's just business, Calvin.
Right. But
that's just the way it is. No, I understand you're saying, when do you hold on things?
When can we get to the acquisition point? We can never acquire.
That's an individual choice. You know what I'm saying? Some people will say, I'm going to be more dedicated and I'm going to hold on to this property, or I'm going to hold on to this business and I'm going to employ other people. But the thing is, you may be only making $2 million a year, but this investor can come in and turn this business into a $20 million business a year. You know what I'm saying?
And that's corporate. You know what I mean? Technically, I buy business. I own Adidas. I own, Microsoft. Correct. I own whatever. You know what I mean? But it's like that's what it is.
But they all are stakeholders and are given partnership. And every artist that was on there got a percentage. So
that's what I'm trying to say. Right, you got to realize Timberland and Swiss Beats and them. They have a lot of black people working for them. They're still keeping those people employed because their business now, they have different businesses that are growing. We got the production business. We got this. Now we got Versus. They're going to be bringing in more black people that's going to get jobs in the industry.
I mean, Rodney, I understand your point, but you know what it sounds like to me? Guess what? You can be the manager. You just can't be the owner. And so they were
the owners. They were the owners when they originated it. But the thing is, to make it bigger, they decided to sell it. And like I said, you just became whatever they got for it. They just became more liquid for it to do other things.
And with that liquid, they'll go and create something else, and then somebody else with more liquid is going to come and buy that, and they'll sell that. So that's just
right.
And I'm just saying at a certain point, I get it. But what I'm saying is we're just we're a community that's bereft of ownership, and I get your point from a business standpoint. It makes a lot of sense. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, how would hip hop be right now if Russell Simmons still owned Def Jam? It still wouldn't be the most popular selling form of music in the world.
I mean, the thing is, at some point, Russell couldn't take Def Jam any further because, first of all, he was getting old. You know what I'm saying? So things were changing very quickly. So sometimes you got to take the bag and run. You know what I'm saying? Because the culture's changing.
But the person who owns Ford was getting old, right? But there's Ford still riding around here, right?
And it's the same thing. The original people that own Ford, they're still getting a piece of it. But there's bigger investors that's in Ford that are still making Ford push further. So don't think
and those bigger investors are always going to be white investors. And so what
that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. One of the biggest media companies in the world, obviously, is Disney, right? You know what I mean? If all black people in the world just went ahead and bought stock in Disney, we'd have a Black Panther movie every other year. You know what I mean? So it's
what y'all saying indirectly is we're never going to own anything. That's just what y'all saying. I mean, I get your point, but we're never going to own anything. That we're just not.
We'll own. I'm telling you, we're owning up to a point.
Right.
But and another thing, I had this conversation with D one day, right? I said, if I'm worth $1 million, right? I can employ certain people, but I mean, $1 million, I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to change my family's lifestyle. But I can help a lot more people with $10 million.
Yeah, but somebody made a good point.
That's how you have to kind of look at it.
Think of Tyler Perry. My thing is, like, I didn't like when Bob Johnson, I'm going back, I'm using Dr. Claude Anderson, and me and Kelvin are big Dr. Claude Anderson fans. Now we don't even have no media outlets to have our story, to really promote our news. We have nothing by selling it. I understand
Bob
business.
Johnson got $1 billion because he couldn't have lived off of the like $400 million he had before that. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, what it is this. So we always talk about this black ownership. We need to say black ownership to a point where you can be fortunate enough to sell what you own to white people.
But you have to understand,
so white people just continue to keep this going.
So you have to understand, like the Tyler Perrys of the world, they're trying to compete with the larger media companies. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you look at someone like Rupert Murdoch, or or Sumner Redstone, or some one of these guys. These are corporations. They have stockholders in whole nine. That's who owns the company. They might own a majority of the company, but they don't, you know what I mean? So they have stockholders that they are responsible to. And at some point, that's the level that you have to get to. You have to give up a portion of your company to get to that point.
Guys, I don't want
leverage. It's called leverage.
We can go back to this on the second part of the show. Listen, I don't want, because we can go back to this on the second part of the show, because we have some special guests coming in. But before we get the special guests, Jamie, can you take us to commercial, please? Man, welcome back from the commercial. Before we get our next guest in, I got some unfortunate news that former great boxing champion Marvin Hagler just passed away.
Oh man!
Oh wow!
Marvelous Hagler. Wow, I used to love that dude.
One of the greatest boxers in boxing history. One of the best fights you ever seen too. So just want to say, I don't know where he died from. Somebody just sent it to me. So
wow. Him and Tommy Hearns, one of the greatest rounds of boxing.
The greatest. The round one was greatest ever.
You never got over that Sugar Ray Leonard loss either, man.
Yeah. That loss haunted him. Yeah.
Rest in peace,
such an honor. D, I know you're about to bring in the next guest. I just want to say, and I hate to make levity after such news, but I just love those commercials, especially right now until they are acquired by a white company. Go for it though. But as of right now, the cakes and sea moss is great right now. So for now. I'm like,
that's right. Lisa made a point. They scared of how powerful people will be if they keep buying our companies on. So lately, it's like on social media and stuff, a lot of people being more open. Like it's different lifestyles, and we find different ways of love and different ways of building family and communities and businesses. We talk about building businesses. So it's something called like the poly lifestyle, and there's different parts of the poly lifestyle. And I want to bring our special guest to bring them in tonight to talk about their lifestyle and basically their love. So simply, Jamie, can you bring in our next guest tonight? Our first guest tonight, actually. Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, Will, can you put them? There we go. Hey, here we go. Hey, how you doing, black people? How you doing?
How you doing?
All right.
Good. Happy to have you guys.
Happy to have you guys on. Yeah. First of all, since you're in Texas, everything better in Texas since it stopped snowing and everything? Everything better down there?
Yeah, just catching up now.
That's what's up. Yeah.
No.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So listen, a lot of people don't understand like polyamorous, poly lifestyles, all these other things, and they confuse stuff with swinging. Can you explain the lifestyle that you guys live and the definition and the different definitions of all the other lifestyles?
So the general definition for poly is being able to love multiple people. That's the basic definition for it. Then you have other umbrellas or segments within it that kind of gets into specific dynamics. Go ahead and chime in.
So for us, we're polyamorous. There are people that identify as polyam, meaning they are more on the polygynous and polyandry side. Polygynous is a man with multiple wives. Polyandry is a woman with multiple husbands. Polyamorous is people with multiple loves. They are not necessarily looking to. They're not always nesting together, meaning they're not always living together, but they have, different relationships, separate relationships. It really just depends on your dynamic and what is discussed between you and your primary partner. My husband will be my primary partner, and I will be his primary partner.
Okay.
What is the biggest misconception people have about the lifestyle that you come across when people ask about it?
It's about sex.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And jealousy.
Yeah.
And another one would be that the man is always the focal point of the relationship. And the women, when they see that there are women who are polyandrous, they look at it like the woman is less value because she's with multiple men. So, more so like slut shame on that side. So it's a decent amount of different misconceptions. Those are the that stand out to me the most.
And then also another is a lot of people just jump to a conclusion and assume that the man is bringing two women together, where in our dynamic, my wife introduced me to poly. I had no idea, no clue what it was at all.
Okay. Would you classify each other both as straight, gay, bi? Like what? How would you classify one another?
So me, I'm bisexual,
and I'm straight.
Okay. All right. What's dating like? What's a date like? Like date night, whatever. What does that look like?
It's a roller coaster. It's up and down because
I'm sure it is.
down. Our poly lifestyle has changed quite a bit because we're once in a triad. We tried open. We actually started off as swingers, just casually having sex with other women, threesomes and things like that. And then we came to a conclusion that we want something more than just sex. We want a connection with one other female. And just recently, within the past year or so, I've come to a grasp with myself that I don't mind my wife dating another man. I'm confident in who I am, and I can't always make my wife happy. I can try until I'm blue in the face, but I can't be everything for my wife.
And keep in mind, it's not his responsibility to do that either. As far as making me happy, I'm responsible for my own happiness. One thing I like to tell people in polyamorous relationships is you find out what works best for your dynamic. A lot of times there are men that are, they're like, they don't want their spouse messing with another man. It has, and this, one of the other misconceptions is that we're not enough for each other. And that's not the truth. I feel personally, this is my personal opinion, that people assume that you find this one person and they're going to be everything you need. But when you realize that you've been with somebody for, 10 plus years, you look at it like, hold on, we don't necessarily like the same things. And then you find like other people that do, my husband isn't really big on nature, but there is a guy that I'm currently talking to who is. And my husband will go on nature walks with me with no problem. It's not nothing that he's excited about, and vice versa. He can tell you things that I don't necessarily enjoy doing with him, or I'm not the I'm not the party girl or anything like that. But I can go out and party with him, if that makes sense. Like, people assume that basically, oh, you guys aren't fulfilling each other's needs. That's why y'all are looking for somebody else. But that's not. We're just fully being ourselves. Without the restrictions.
So the person that's involved in your life, the other woman, does she live with you guys or live close or in different cities? How does it work?
So my wife is actually dating another woman, she's actually dating another woman, and she's a travel nurse, so she's traveling between Illinois and Atlanta.
Okay.
And the person that I am courting or vetting, she is here in Houston. So it just varies.
You said courting or vetting. So you have another person that you are interested in,
Correct.
and you're vetting her and deciding whether or not you can bring that person into your relationship. All right. Do you make the decision, or does she? How do you make that decision? Like, how does that happen? So it's all strictly on Tavon. Okay.
Yes, because that would be my
For
relationship.
him, yeah.
Our relationship is different. Like, for instance, the guy that she's courting or vetting, we would not all have a relationship together. That's their relationship.
Okay.
They will have a friendship. That's about it.
Like most women would like to call it a bromance or anything, but to me, it's just a friendship.
So you basically kind of keep your individual relationships separate from your marriage.
Technically, well, at least in the beginning,
yes.
It's so it's so we can get to know. We let the person know automatically, like what we're looking for. I feel like that's important. Transparency is very important. Let somebody know exactly what it is that you're looking for. I mean, I'm not going to spill everything out in the first, session of, but I do let people know that I'm polyamorous and I'm married. Those are two things that I do lead with when I'm communicating with somebody that's, of course, attractive to me or is flirting with me. And we have that communication where we know if this is just too much, meaning we're at saturation with as far as and just being saturated in poly life just means you're at your limit on partners. So for me, I am talking. I say talking. We use different words. Like you'll hear people say courting, vetting, and things like that. Courting and vetting is literally the same thing. You're just getting to know someone. Well, you can even say dating, but some people are very picky about certain words that they use. Me, I'm personally like, I'm just talking to someone right now because I don't know where this is going to go. I'm not serious about this person, but I enjoy the connection that we have as far as the conversation, the things that we do have in common with each other. And, that's about it. Now, the woman that I am dating that is serious, she is a travel nurse. So me and her, she actually was just calling me. So me and her actually, keep in communication. We have to keep things fresh because we are long distance. But we'll have, Zoom calls with each other or FaceTime really, because we both have iPhone. And, we do little nail dates. We'll plan to go, stuff like that. We do things together, but I also get to see her too. Like when we plan to come together. That's my serious relationship outside of him, because I consider her a long distance wife. She once was in a triad with us, but that did not work out. And now it's just me and her.
All right. So would you guys ever had a third party living with you guys?
Yes. Her current wife was we had a triad and we all lived under the same roof.
Okay.
And in certain states like Utah, right, people can get married to multiple people. I'm not sure if that's true.
That's not really illegal.
That's illegal. Yeah. I know. Yeah, because I know Brother Polite. I don't know if you guys know this guy named Brother Polite on social media. So Brother Polite has contracts with all his women and stuff like that. Would you guys think about having contracts with other people? If you did?
If I would say yes, because it's very similar to being married, but I'd have to invest some time first to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Just like I did before I married my wife. We engaged, and after we got engaged, it was about 3 years till we actually got married, because I wanted to make sure this is the right thing I'm doing.
And a date.
Yeah, that too.
Derek, there was a question I just wanted to put back up if we can find it from Nikisha. She wants to know, there it is. Why get married and be in a poly relationship, in your opinion? Why would what was the thing that made you say we're going to get married and be in a poly relationship?
Go ahead.
So that's the question. That's very common. So this is the thing. Polyamorous people it doesn't mean that we don't want commitment. To be honest with you, it would be nice if it wasn't a law that we can only marry one person. I would I call her my wife because I literally consider her my wife. It's just illegal for me to marry her because I'm already married. Just because we got married does not mean we cannot be polyamorous. You have some people where that question comes from. I personally feel like that question comes from people assuming that marriage is just for two people and you guys are supposed to be everything to each other and you're not supposed to want anything outside of that. That is the traditional monogamous way, and technically monogamy is not really traditional.
No, it's not.
Well,
hey, shit, monogamy hasn't been working out. A lot of divorces. That's another subject. That's just another subject.
Divorce is like 60%.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question.
I'm a person that been divorced.
You said something about commitment too. What is commitment? How do you define commitment? Because I heard that you said that most people think that you're not into commitment. So how is it that you can be married, all right, but then be outside of that, but still think of yourself as a committed person?
So it really just depends on what you look at commitment as. Like, everybody doesn't look at marriage the same way. We are committed to each other because we knew that we wanted to be together for the rest of our lives. And we have been together. We've known each other for 10 years, been together for 8 years, and been married for 5. We just hit our anniversary this
2
past,
days ago.
2 days ago.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Black love in the house.
What I mean by commitment is more than just, I'm not committed to him just sexually. I'm committed to him and just who he is for who he is. And that's vice versa for my wife. I'm committed to her. I'm not out here, messing with this guy, this girl, this person, just without not necessarily consent, but without communicating that with them. I'm not looking for, just a free for all, because that's what a lot of people think polyamorous relationships are. I'm looking for just those connections. For me, I would be saturated at 4. And what I mean by 4 is he would have his spouse, girlfriend, and I would have mine off to the side. If it can come together, that's awesome. And what I mean by coming together is if we were all able to, at least come to a kitchen table, because they call that kitchen table poly. Come to a kitchen table together, be able to, communicate, have fun, go out with each other, see each other as friends, and have that commitment to each other, if that makes sense. It sounds
like that's the
level at which you'd like to stop at 4. If you say you like to stop at 4, what if he'd like to stop at 8? Is that okay?
That's him.
That's something we have to discuss.
Yo,
my number is lower than hers.
Yo, I'm gonna give you some advice. You need some watermelon rind and some pumpkin seeds.
and I got a stash of blue pills. Somebody,
so you can get it popping, brother.
But no, somebody asked the question real quick. Yeah. They asked there's never any type of there's never any type of jealousy.
Oh, it's definitely jealousy.
How do you handle that?
That's a normal human.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how do you handle that? How does that go down?
The way I handle my jealousy is it's just how you act when you get jealous, or what do you do when you get jealous? When I get jealous, I tend to get crafty as far as with my artwork. I take my mind away from whatever my jealousy is, and then I we'll touch on it on a later basis, or I'll let them know, hey, I was kind of feeling this way about this or such and such. It's more of a communication thing, but I don't let my jealousy, I don't act out of jealousy, I should say.
But what are you jealous of?
It's crazy that I could say this, but I don't get jealous with her going and dating other men. It's more so women, because they have a better connection than I could have with my wife.
And I say this about jealousy, like one of you guys already said, it is a normal emotion. It's a human. It's really just about how you deal with it. For me, it's process how I'm feeling, and this is the thing with just humans in general. This is not monogamous people. You have people that need to do shadow work within themselves, because they just push their emotions off on other people because they're feeling it at their moment. So like a woman, if she's mad at her man for doing something, she's showing him that in an aggressive way. That's you showing your emotion instead of analyzing your emotion and possibly communicating about it at a later date, not actually putting that off, because energy is everything. You're putting that energy off on somebody that didn't even
Me too, Nicole.
Well, you know what? I'd like to know, because as your husband said, you introduced him to this lifestyle. So first of all, I'd like to know, how did you get introduced to the lifestyle? And then I would like to know a little bit about, and I'm talking about you and not your husband. So your background, were you into monogamy at one point and then changed to this, or was this something that you were just raised around?
Oh, they laughed. This is about to be good.
Yeah.
So for me, I think he laughed because he hear me say it a lot.
Yeah, I hear this story quite often now.
So for me, it was okay. Growing up, I did grow up Christian. You know, that was our religion. My mama had me in the church, all that. Grandma did. They all even worked in the church. But I will say this: I feel like my family are, in a sense, what some real Christians will call hypocrites, because they never judged me for just being different. When I was like 16, I told my mom and them, I was like, I like girls. You know, I just came out. I was like, I like girls. And
you're the reason why I love church girls.
Kelvin is perfect.
Give me a preacher's
Calvin ain't feeling that shit. Calvin ain't feeling that.
Give me a preacher's daughter. Give me a preacher's daughter any day.
Okay, so basically, your preference as far as sexuality was girls initially before men completely. So it was just you like girls. Okay, you were not attracted to guys. It was girls.
No, and that was the thing. My mom was like I liked guys, but I was always weird around them. It was like really hard for me just to be myself around a guy. And I actually got pregnant at a young age by the first guy that I was with. And it was awkward. It was really awkward. And I didn't really I was young. I didn't understand the connection between a man and a woman, but I knew that when I was with females, I just felt comfortable. I felt free. And I had communicated this with my mom. When I say my mom she's my rock. She's my everything. She never shunned me or anything. And I really it chokes me up a little bit thinking about it, because I know people that have went the total opposite way with their family. So my mom made me feel comfortable, and she, she never made me feel like it was just weird. She was like, baby, maybe that's what you like, but whatever you decide to do when you get older, make that decision. She was always like, make that decision when you get older. You know what I'm saying? And because you might not just be about females. And as I got older, I realized I did like guys. I liked the way that they looked. I just like the way that they looked. And I was like, okay. And my sister, she used to mess with me. She was like, you just greedy. She was like, you know what you want. I heard that a lot too. And I was like, no, I think I just like both. And then I just started really identifying myself as bisexual and biromantic, meaning that I am not just sexually attracted to the same sex. I'm also romantically attracted to the same sex.
So now when you met your husband, was this something early on, or did you find this out later?
He was like, so I knew that I liked guys when I met him. And it was just like, I had been with more women though. So I really didn't know how to navigate that space. Luckily, this young, cocky guy, he kind of broke my shell, and was like,
Baby, that's called pimp juice. That's called pimp juice.
Yeah, that's
that man's popping his collar on you.
There you go, young pimp.
And what was so crazy?
Uh-oh, they popping off? Oh.
Can you guys see? Okay.
Yes.
He basically made me feel comfortable around him. He tells me this all the time. He was like, I knew you before you even paid attention to me. And I genuinely, I was like, okay. So when he did come around and I started getting more comfortable around him, it was easy for me to just be myself. He never really cared that I liked females, and he didn't exploit it, I should say. He didn't exploit it. Meaning, I had ran into most guys, they heard me sound like females, they automatically jump to threesomes, and I'm like,
yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
I used to be like that long time ago.
Long time ago.
I had my time.
To sum that up, I told him, I was like, hey, it would be nice if I could date a female, as well. And he was like, without me, you know, because he was like, damn, that means all your attention go to somebody else. So he really wasn't feeling it at first. And I had told him, I was just like, you know, babe, I really crave the attention from a female. And then we got to talking, you know, that was a discussion for probably like within the first year of our relationship. And it was kind of just like, okay, well, he was like, are you sure you need, is it just sex? That's why we kind of started out as swingers. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't really want to tell him it was more than just sex. And then I finally had to, because I was like, I'm not finna keep just, you know, just going through females and stuff like that. And I had not fell in love, but I really liked one a whole lot. And I decided, I'm like, hey, babe, can we see if it'll work where, you know, she moves in with us? And
you know what it sounds like? It sounds like you couldn't live the monogamous life with him alone, but he could do it with you, it seems like. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it definitely started as that. Yes.
But you if she tomorrow said it's just you and I, you could live with that.
Where I'm at now, no.
Now you couldn't. Okay.
In the past, yes, because I came from a monogamous household. My dad and my stepmom, and even prior to that, I've always watched my grandparents married. It's a bond between two people. I didn't know anything about polygamy.
That girl got you open, boy. Ain't nothing bad. Just have a little joke with y'all, but ain't nothing bad. Nah, but I understand. You change. People change. You change.
Thank you for being so open about that.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question, Kevin. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish first.
I was just saying, like, I pretty much grew into who I am now. I didn't know who I was until, I'm not going to say until I met her, but she helped me learn who I am.
Okay. The question I want to ask you is, how does your friends and how does your family respond to your lifestyle? No, his family.
Oh, his.
My mom?
Yeah. So your friends and family. Yeah, you.
So, for me, family, only person I can say that they didn't give me any problem or anything. My dad cracked a lot of jokes because
I'm sure he did.
He's never been poly, but he's dealt with plenty of women at once. And he was like, he told me it's gonna lead me to an early grave. He said I'm gonna be stressed out. It's gonna be a lot of jealousy. And he told us that we weren't gonna work out because of it. But
don't forget your siblings. They didn't.
My siblings on my dad's side, because I have my mom had 8 kids, my dad had 5. They were never together. But on my father's side, my siblings were not for it because I'm the baby. Okay. It was protecting, like, this not for you. You doing this wrong. But on my mom's side, they're like, live your life. Go do what you want. And then also, like, with all the siblings I had, I was kind of off to myself.
His friends thought he was a pimp.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut friends off because of that, because I tried to explain it to them and tried to, give them knowledge and information behind it, but steady calling me a pimp and disrespecting the person I love, I cut them off.
The goal was to know, can you see yourself in this lifestyle 15 years from now?
Definitely.
Okay, so this is going nowhere. This is how you guys are, and that's what it is.
I'm hoping within 10, 15 years, it's like the LGBT movement. Like it's in your face.
We're gonna get some signatures together, a petition together. We should be able to marry more than one person.
Yes, definitely.
Be like other countries and stuff like that.
Yo, that alimony would be crazy.
Man, don't you ever get divorced.
Yeah, that alimony would be crazy.
You gotta do a prenup. Gotta get a prenup.
Yeah, I believe in prenups.
So let me ask you a question. Like you say, you have a child. Do you guys have children together?
No.
So if you did have children, how would you explain it to the children? And my other part to the question: if you have another wife, would it be cool for him to have children with another woman and y'all raise the kids together?
So I have one child. He is 14. He will be 15 this year. When I met him, when we started dating, I should say, because I always say when I met him,
I met her a year before she even realized who I was.
I was a bit. Remember, I told you I was awkward around guys. I would never pay attention because he was my brother's friend. So I'm like not paying attention to him like that. But my son was 5 when we got together. So in my child's, I'm not gonna call him that on live. The person who helped me create him is not part of his life, and wonderful man became that figure for our son. So biologically, no, we do not have any kids together. but he considers my son his son, so it's our son. He has seen mom and dad navigate through this lifestyle. I always tell people, make sure you're answering the questions appropriate towards their age. Kids ask questions, they do. But they also need to be in healthy environments. They can't be, you can be in an unhealthy environment. You can have an unhealthy environment around your child in a monogamous relationship. A lot of people assume that we have, so many people, around our kid, and that's not the case. It actually takes a lot for somebody to even meet my child. And if they do so happen, like if we're like on an outing or something like that, and I have my kid with me, it would have been more like, like in public or something active that they wouldn't even pay attention to, the NRE, which is the that new relationship energy between me and someone. I always made it a point not to have somebody around my kid until I knew that it was serious. And what I mean by serious is that me and him have already discussed, and this is okay. Now, as far as the questions that my son had, it was just as simple as, sitting down, answering them for him. I don't sugarcoat anything. I feel like people underestimate children and think that they need a soft side to a story. I'm not out here telling him that we're, I'm not vulgar with the conversation. I make it age appropriate, so he's watched mom and dad navigate through this space, and he feels that it is normal, and that, we just love multiple people. He has so much love around him outside of my family. My long distance wife, she genuinely loves him to pieces. And the bond between them was amazing watching it happen. It's a lot of people just think they be scared of what their kid is going to think, but your kid just want to see you happy. Like, seriously, your kid see you happy and healthy.
So how would y'all handle the kids your son ever get teased at school, and has it ever come up, anything like that?
He's actually talked to me about it. He didn't get teased, but back when we lived in Illinois, it was one of his friends that asked about his dad having 2 girlfriends, and I had to explain it, kind of just sit down and talk to him like, this isn't your typical relationship that you'll see every day. A lot of people are monogamous, which means it's a couple. It's a man and a woman, or a woman and woman, or a man and man. There's no more than 2. So we just had that conversation. He was a lot younger then, but with him being younger, it's easy for me to explain it to him because I didn't have to get into detail about it. So it worked out pretty smoothly.
And I tell people a lot of times, it's like, there's kids that have 2 moms, there's kids that have 2 dads, they're going to school and they're like, oh snap, you got 2 dads, and kids can be cruel, but honestly, kids more so talk about the way that the kid come to school dressed or smell or something like that. It's not much. It's not like, I'm out here with OnlyFans and they mama telling talking about me around the house or anything like that. Because I know kids can be cruel, but honestly, their kids aren't at the school talking about some, hey, you got 2 mamas, you got 2 dads, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But think about most kids nowadays do, like you said, you got stepfather and the real father. So most and stepmom and the biological. So most kids are growing up with 4 parents nowadays. So it's like the norm. So I think you guys are onto something. Like, I think this might just become the norm, and people are starting to open their minds up to a little bit different things. So.
And then you asked the question about is he allowed to have kids by another woman? I don't allow him to do anything because this man is a free thinker. I don't really care for the word allow, but if he wants to, yes. Like,
and where I'm at right now, no. Our son is 15. He's almost out the house.
Right. Right.
Hey, what's your address? I'm coming over to those parties.
Got another kid. I don't want to start all over, but if I did get in a relationship with another woman and she had kids, that would not be a disclaimer for me. It just depends on how many kids and how much I care for her.
So listen, I want to thank you guys for coming on, but I know you guys have a business, and I know a lot of things, like a lot of poly relationships, they always have businesses together, like the couples get together, they build stuff together. So what business do you guys have, and how can they find your business?
So I support my lovely wife right here, because I kind of put my business on the back burner because hers is thriving and I
You
love
didn't
it.
put your business on the back burner.
I won't say I put it on the
Don't
back
say
burner,
that.
but I turn my focus towards hers because she's very passionate about it and she's teaching me. She's a very spiritual person. I grew up Catholic, Baptist, Christian, a little bit of everything, but now I'm spiritual. I don't necessarily believe in a religion per se. I do believe there's a higher being, but so with that being said, her business is called Love Smudge.
Y'all can see it going across the screen. Basically, I started this business a couple of years ago now. It is spiritual based. Even if you go to my website, I make this joke all the time because I did grow up in a Christian environment. But I make this joke all the time. My website makes religious people uncomfortable. It's just a joke because I do have religious people that be on my website ordering from me. But I make intention pyramids is one of my number one sellers in my personalized gift boxes, which just contain a lot of spiritual products, ranging from crystals, candles, and all of this is handmade. It's either jewelry, or I do when it comes to the intention, it would be something like this, like these.
Okay. That's nice.
Or these, and they all have crystals in them, and they all are targeted to different meanings. A lot of them are the crystals that I normally work with are for protection, prosperity, and just bringing that positive protective energy in your home. It's like a lot of people would be so confused or just put off by spirituality. I'm not working with dark beings, you know what I'm saying? I'm not out here,
there's no voodoo
putting spells on people. There's nothing wrong with voodoo, though.
And nothing wrong with voodoo. About to say that. Thank you, sister.
I don't have
the original black religion. That's another subject, Kelvin. We ain't gonna go into that.
Oh, I'm saying I'm just not initiated into voodoo practices, so I don't do that. I don't have a problem with it. It's amazing because I have friends that's like that. But what I do is basically just create cleansing and protective items and products for people. I do have services that I offer as far as mentoring for people who are starting out their spiritual journey, because I've been spiritual, known that this was my path for the last 6 years, but it was on and off because I never had anybody that looked like me, to teach me these things until I started getting older and realizing that this, African spirituality was even a thing. And I just started finding that community of people, and it inspired me to, do things that I was doing on a regular basis as far as creating smudge bundles, because that's where my business started. Smudge bundles are cleansing sages, like sage and lavender and things like that. I started creating them for myself, and then I would post them, and people would be like, "You should sell these." And I found a joy in doing that and crafting. So that's where my business started from. Now it's at a point where it's doing really good. I'm super proud of myself. Y'all, I did not expect for it to go as well as it has within this last year. And something else I always tell people, when it comes to you starting your own business, no matter what the idea is, just put your all into it. I was going through a separation when I started my business. And a lot of people didn't know that. My business literally got me through some hard times. I knew that that was my purpose, and I just kept pushing forward with it. And now I'm going on year 2, and it just gets better every year. I really now, as far as him, I would say he got his own stuff going on. I
definitely do. I'm gonna touch base on it, but her business has been so successful that she was able to quit her full-time 9 to 5.
That's what's up.
Wow, that's what's up.
Boss, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Entrepreneurship.
And listen, do you have anything that could give me 2 wives? Any kind of herbs, any kind of crystals that give me 2 wives?
Yeah.
Nah. Listen,
You want that?
Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of responsibility.
The business that I put on the back burner, I didn't really put it on the back burner. It's just I have to work on my credit so I can get the loan that I want, not the one that they want to give me. I want to open my food truck up again here in Houston, because in Illinois it's pretty good, but here in Houston, it's a great market. I'm a very great chef. I have 6 years of culinary arts under my belt. I have 2 state championships for culinary art and cooking, art designing. So that's my passion. I absolutely love to cook.
That's what's up, man.
That's what's up.
Listen, I'm coming to the party. I'm getting a plate and I'm getting some crystals and I'm getting me a second wife. So let's. Thank you for coming on, guys. I love you guys. I follow you. I follow you guys on Instagram. I love what you do. I love how y'all surround each other with love, and that's the main thing people don't understand. Like, these two people really do genuinely love each other, and they love the people that surround them, that they bring into their lives. So I commend you guys for being so honest, so truthful, and living in your truth. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great night. Thank you.
And thanks for having the courage to come on and opening up your life like that. It takes a lot of courage to do that.
This is what you really do. You don't really care what people say.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
I live by that myself. I don't care what people say.
Thank you. That for sure.
All right, y'all. Peace, y'all. Be safe out there.
Good night.
Have a good night.
All right.
Peace. Oh, I'm in the middle this time.
Wow.
Nah, that was a good segment. That was a great guest, man. I mean, the honesty.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to, and the courage to come on to talk about stuff like that. That's what's up. That is.
Lisa said, "Don't sell your presents to a white person."
Sorry, is not to get a little more equity.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, right. And also, Lisa said, there won't nobody be going for alimony because everybody be happy. I saw that. Somebody they were talking. I couldn't get into it. At least I saw that shit was funny. That was funny. So, what do you guys think? What's your feedback? What's your thoughts on the last guest for tonight?
I mean,
I'm scared.
Yeah, it was eye-opening. I thought, maybe it was the, freak of the week business, man. I don't know, but apparently, it's a relationship. He comes in and brings something to the table, and that's I think it's about the agreement or the contract of the relationship. You know what I mean? They have their structure to it. It's not just whatever, So I don't know. I don't pass judgment on it personally. I don't want any more. I got one woman, and that's enough for me to handle, because that's a lot of responsibility. You know what I mean? But if you're up for it, you game for it, whatever floats your boat, man. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with Derik. I mean, I couldn't even imagine if I came to my wife with something like that. I probably would look like Martin Lawrence when he fought Tommy Hearns, when he put all those lumps on his head. Nah, but that's definitely not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I give him a lot of credit. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if it works for you, it works for you. But I can definitely say it ain't going to work for everybody.
It won't work for me.
I think it was very, very telling, some things that she mentioned about how she started, and then the fact that he wasn't really into it, and he kind of got kind of converted and immersed in it. I think it's very interesting. I do think it's easier to do that than it is a traditional relationship. And the reason I think it's easier because it just allows, like, for instance, like in a traditional relationship, the person would say, well, I'll make a sacrifice to get into nature or whatever like that. This just says, okay, if you're not there, I'll get somebody to supply this need or that need or that need. So I think you have a lot more flexibility, and then the other thing is that's interesting, that is capped at 4, and so it's a concept of openness, but it still has its restrictions also.
That sounded like a arbitrary number to me, though.
Was that question for me? That question before?
Which one?
Yeah. What if your wife came with that? Came to me with that?
With that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, man. I love my girlfriends. I had a girlfriend back in the day, long time ago. I thoroughly enjoyed that time.
I don't know. I guess I got to get asked the question when it's asked.
Hey, I think
I
might have tried it when I was younger. It didn't work out.
I'm old now. I didn't have to, like I said, I got to live with a watermelon next to my nightstand all night. You know what I'm saying? With all those women in the house, I have like 5, 6, 7 women in the house.
Listen, that's what I said. That's a lot of responsibility.
A lot of responsibility. They be like, why are you so tired all the time?
My problem be, when can I get to the bathroom? some women in the house. Like,
Good work.
You know?
A whole extra person.
And you know something? And I'll be opening up all the pipes under the sinks with all that hair in the sink that women put in the hair. You know, I deal with that now. Now I have even more.
And all the toilet tissue be gone.
That's what your friends for.
I be thinking they eat toilet tissue in my house.
Yo, listen, women take toilet tissue off the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and wipe a little bit on. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
All that toilet paper, man. Seriously, man. But that was good. I love those two. They were great to have on the show and stuff like that. I'm just trying to look through the list real quick before the show ends. I want to touch on something real quick from earlier. Not the topic we talked about before, but for the chopping block. DJ Mr. C came on the podcast with Mano, the rapper Mano. For some people don't know Mano, he was allegedly had a relationship with Lala and stuff like that. And DJ Mr. C, we all know what he had before DJ Mr. C. For those that don't know, he got arrested a few times for having, again, fellatio with the young kids called top nowadays. Or you want to say, since we on this show, we can say getting some head from transgender men. And he was trying to explain to Mano, was trying to figure out. They were having a conversation saying like DJ Mr. C said he's trisexual, but he said then he changed it up and said I'm not gay. And what are you guys' thoughts on that whole thing? I wish we could show what the conversation was on there so people understand.
I saw the interview, and I remember when Mr. C was first going through this thing, and he kept getting arrested. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he got arrested 2 times or 3 times. Three times soliciting a transsexual or transgender?
Transgender, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it happened 3 times, and Mr. C denied it all 3 times. He was in complete denial of it or whatever until they dropped a tape on Mr. C of him in the car negotiating top with a transgender, correct?
Once he got caught in a police sting. Correct.
He got caught in a police sting, and I think they had a tape or whatever. Now, he's now come out and says, he likes getting top from transgender or whatever. I kind of still think that Mr. C is still not being openly honest, but it's Mr. C's business. That's how I see it. But I see that he's more out front with it, which I guess I give him a lot of courage for, because it definitely is not easy for a man to come out and say that's his thing. You know what I'm saying? But he said to Mano that he's never actually had intercourse with a male. He just only gets top.
Well, you know what?
I don't think we're being completely honest. That's my personal opinion.
That's what we are right now. I mean, he's allowed a little bit more leeway in the hip hop community nowadays than he was back then. The real issue for me is not that it was a transgender, because you are who you are, whatever you want to call it. It was a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? So either way, his real issue was that he was soliciting prostitutes. You know what I mean? Which is illegal, whatever. You know?
Well, the type of prostitutes too. You can't leave that out.
Yeah, that's true. You know, and yes, McCole, he's still a dope.
He's still a dope. Yeah, we're not taking that away from him.
He gets a pass because he discovered Biggie.
Correct.
And he has value because of that. For no other reason. Yeah, but that's just where we are right now. You know, and I think you're starting to see that because the culture is starting to change a little bit. Certain things are being a little bit more permissive than it used to be. Now he's speaking with a little bit more authority. He's speaking out, he's coming out of being more of himself. He's being a little bit more open than he used to be back in the days.
I think, and it's a friends, like when he came up flexing, people surrounded him, kind of, because at first it was kind of judgmental, but then they surrounded him. And at the end of the day, like, is Mr. C a good dude? Is Mr. He's still a good party rocking person. So I think it was more people trying to fill out when he said, I'm a trisexual. And I think that kind of threw the whole conversation off.
Just be honest, though, man.
Yeah, but he changed it quickly, D. He changed that. Because trisexual means he said, I'll try anything.
Yeah, he said, I'll try anything once. Then he changed up. He's like, oh, let me stop.
Yeah, because he just finished saying he's never had intercourse with a man. So then, but you did just say you were trisexual. So that means you would try it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I think he's been caught several times. This is the thing, and I think everybody's make this point about you cannot judge people and not judging. I'll just say this: there's a lot of things that obviously I don't relate to. I don't have any other perspective than a heterosexual perspective. So the only thing I can relate to is the attraction to women. I want to be able to say that I think somewhere along the line we need to be able to celebrate that as well. I mean, everybody, each year there's different groups and different factions that are coming out. I just want to say I still want to represent the heterosexuals and shout out to the 6 or 7 heterosexual men that's out here
that still left.
That still left. So I just want to say that we're gonna eventually have a parade. It'd be four of us there, but yo, I just want to say that, you know, we still in the game. That's all. So to the women out there, just as you know, there are still some black heterosexual men that like one woman at a time also. So we don't want to get lost in that. That's all I'll tell you. Black women, you're beautiful. We love you and we appreciate you. You know, all six of us.
Four right here.
So one of my favorite parts about our podcast is the Watch of the Chop It segment that we're coming into. Right. So one of the things I just recently watched, I think it should be the best movie of the year. It's better than, to me, than Ma Rainey, better than One Night in Miami. It's definitely better than Coming to America. It's the Billie Holiday movie that's on Hulu. I think it's a must-watch movie, and they just showed you how bad. I didn't know a lot about Billie Holiday then until this movie kind of opened it up. The one they had with Diana Ross was some trash. Now you look back at it, that was straight garbage, you know, compared to what you just witnessed, like how the fans really hated Billie Holiday for the song that she Strange Fruit. You know, so I don't know if you guys checked it out, but I'm telling everyone else is a much watch. Anybody of you guys ever checked it out yet? Anybody?
I haven't seen it even. I've heard. Yeah, I've heard. Well shot, well done. That's what I've heard. Well shot,
well done. First time ever acting. Sister laid it down. She sang all the vocals. She lost so much weight to play Billie Holiday. Super great movie. Best movie of the year to me.
I will put on the cape for Diana Ross and her Billie Holiday movie back in the day. You have to,
Lady Sings the Blues, right?
Yeah. Lady Sings the Blues. You got to understand for its time. Yeah, for its time, you know, we needed that.
It was good, but it was Hollywood, and it made it. Exactly. And it didn't show how dark white people were.
It was safe
compared to it was safe. So that's why I like this one way more. Now that I saw this, I can't even watch Lady Sings the Blues ever again. Yeah. That's how good this was. Another movie, another show. I mean, Derek, I didn't see this yet, but it's called Small Acts.
Small Acts. It is actually a series of 5 films shot by Steve McQueen, British filmmaker. And the premise of each film is basically set in the late 60s to early 80s in London. So you start to see the Black experience there in London, everything that we were going through here and how it manifested itself over here, from the Black Panther Party, the Civil Rights Movement to music. I love particularly Part 2, which was the second movie, which was incredible. It was just a love letter to house party. All right, and you will remember this if you've ever been to a Caribbean house. And shout out to all our Caribbean watchers. If you've ever been, you will dig it because you understood you were there. If you were of a certain age group, you were there. And it was fantastic, from sweat coming off the walls to people dancing in the corners in the darkness. It was fantastic. You have to really catch it.
And the thing, what's the name people, you said it was good. I wish I could pop my finger like that, but American Black people, we can't pop that.
Yeah, we didn't figure that.
We don't have that finger. That's a great thing. We don't have a joint. They have that's the West Indian joint in their finger where they just.
And we can't suck our teeth like that.
No, that's good.
No one sucks their teeth.
Yeah, I can't suck my teeth as good as that. So the other thing that I watched, I don't know. I know Rod probably watched because he got the picture in the background right behind him. The Biggie documentary.
That's right. I definitely was on top of that.
That was dope. I wish I had a camcorder. I wish I would have filmed. No, I don't want to film my life because I was a little wild back then. But that was excellent. What's your thoughts? Anybody else saw it besides Rod?
I saw it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was well done. It basically showed a lot of footage that they had on Biggie that was never seen before. That's what I found really interesting about it. Able to trace him back to his youth, and a lot of like I said, a lot of footage of him being young and rapping. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it just showed how this guy was just so talented, even from a young age. You know what I'm saying? And just make the simplest things sound incredible. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And the other thing is his mother was behind this too. So genuinely loved him, were in support of this.
And one thing I want young people, they could watch and take to it, that Biggie had a mentor twice in his life. He had a jazz player that was twice, that was in his life, that told him how to They keep on beating his head. Then he had it. Then he looked back where he has uncle, which is extended family in Jamaica.
In Jamaica,
took him to the parties and had him rhyming and seeing that kind of stuff. Young people, I wish they would take away from that. He had an older man in his life to keep him on point, to get him and fall in love with music.
Yeah, Small Axe. Lisa, she's asking me what was my recommendation.
It's on Amazon Prime. On Amazon Prime.
On Amazon Prime. Yes, Small Axe. Yeah. And it was great.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I haven't seen the documentary. I'm really looking forward to catching it though. So thank you, fellas, for the recommendation. Yeah.
So whatchamacallit? The next one was 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine, supervillain. I started watching a little bit of it. Rod, you can take it from here, and I'll give my opinion.
It's not what most when I talk to people about it or whatever. It's not what people think it's about. Some people think it's glorifying what he did. It's not. It shows how he was actually he designed a lot of these things by attaching himself to the gang culture in order to make himself hotter. But it showed how basically he screwed these guys over. But in my opinion, from watching it and also knowing how it went down myself, like these guys should have known better to attach this guy to their gang culture because they should have known he wasn't built for it. You know what I mean? So that's what caused their downfall. You know what I'm saying? Attaching him to it. I understand they was using him for the money and everything, but
one thing I took from working in schools and counseling kids, one thing I took from 6ix9ine for people to know, his childhood. When you say a lot of adults, the way they act out and where they be, you got to go back to their childhood. When you look at 6ix9ine's childhood, father being a heroin addict, not really in his life, his steps possibly saw was a hero. He got murdered going to the store for them, and it changed his life. He realized his superhero was vulnerable and his superhero could be knocked down, and so he said the villains always won. So I think he had a passion about the Joker and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff when you look at the 6ix9ine documentary, always just please and look at him now. And I don't like 6ix9ine, but look at how his childhood, any childhood, adult man or woman that you judge in their 20s and 30s, please, people, reflect to the child. And when I tell women, always ask a man about their childhood. I tell guys, always ask a woman about their childhood. And that really tells who the adult they are now.
Definitely.
Yeah. But one thing our super producer Jamie told, Jamie, can you bring us some of the comments? He said we missed some of the fun comments. And I want to see what fun comments that we had in the chat over here. So, Jamie, can you please pull up some of the fun? Say, D, you just... Oh, yeah. Well, coming to America. Listen. I said I gave it a 2. I didn't say it was a 0, a 2. So I threw my little shot.
I did finally say that.
Yeah. It was laugh, but like I was saying to you guys before we do the rehearsals on the weekdays, that I said it had a lot of things where it segued into, but took, I guess, homage to Black Panther, the movie with the homeboy had his dread just like Killmonger. The young ladies who have the martial arts and stuff like that, they was just like the sisters that was in Black Panther. So, and both fathers dying and being head of kingdoms, I got it. So, black people, listen, don't get me. I'm woke D. I just didn't think it was a good movie.
I don't think you need, and I don't think you need to look at it to be woke D. Just enjoy it. Like I just don't.
I didn't enjoy it.
You didn't like musical performances, like that. Good musical performances in there. You ain't think that.
I didn't come to see music. I came to see a funny show.
Listen,
and I didn't.
That's like when Black Panther people went to go and be woke and watch his life-changing event. Just watch it, man.
I would have cast it a lot different. I would have cast it a lot different.
Thank you.
If you, let me explain something to you. If you load up a movie with a whole bunch of comedians and it's not funny, something is wrong. Something's wrong.
It's just okay.
Yeah, it's just okay. It has to be. If you got 4, 5, 6 professional comedians in there and it's not funny, something's wrong.
It was trash.
Thank you, Miss. She said it was trash.
It was trash.
Thank you for defending me.
Y'all too serious. Yes, take Lady D's black card.
No, hell no.
His mama didn't whoop his ass. His mama didn't whoop his ass.
That movie was. Listen, I guarantee you, nobody's going to be quoting it like we quote the first one. So that's why I say
you can't expect it to be the first one, man.
I don't care.
Sequel.
Hey,
I don't think they should even touched it. They shouldn't even did it. They should have took a chance on it.
We quote Rocky 3. Couple lane lines and shit like that.
You know, listen, it's great when a sequel lives up to the original, but we shouldn't expect it on a sequel. I just wanted to look for a good movie, man.
I really think the problem was the first one did not have an unresolved issue, and that was the issue. I don't think they knew. That's the thing. So out of all of Eddie's movies, what I would have probably done was a really solid Beverly Hills Cop 4 and left it at that. But I wouldn't have touched Come to America. It was such a great love story. I would have left it at that.
Thank you, corny. Thank you. And,
It was funny.
Jamie, bring up one more. There's one more comment I think we missed, Jamie, before we wrap up. What was one more comment can we bring up?
Thanks for the hetero PSA.
We all we got. We all we got.
Hilarious. That's serious, man. I mean, it's attack on masculinity. That's a whole. We can bring that up next week. Let's talk about that. It's attacks on masculinity. I strongly believe.
They're gonna leave Boomerang alone.
Yo, we could do a whole show on that.
Yeah, they better leave Boomerang alone. You damn right. They better not leave it on.
But see, y'all are trapping Eddie Murphy. He's a prisoner of his own success, man. And it's a damn shame, man. You know, let that man. And after this, he's gonna go out and start doing stand up again. Let him go out and do some stand up. Let him try to be funny.
Yeah, one thing, he's gonna play Marion Barry in the Marion Barry biopic or whatever it's gonna come up. So
Dolomite was good. Dolomite was good. Did you see Dolomite?
Dolomite was dope. But Coming to America 2, they only went to America for 10 minutes. Let's keep that real. But I don't know why you call it Coming to America. You only went to America for 10 minutes.
Yes, baby. Attack on Black masculinity is my hot button.
Yeah. So, but anyway, bro. Producer Jamie's at my ear. We over time. So listen, guys, I love you guys. Great segment, man. Peace, everybody. See y'all next week. Love y'all guys, man. Peace.
Hey, y'all.
All right, we're out.
All right.